Okay, so we are recording again. We are going to be recording Reunion in the Cities. And yeah, here it, guess this is sort of a marathon. All right, so Reunion in the Cities. Play. So here is another Transformer movie. I probably need to make sure that the audio is turned down a little bit, just in case there's some music. Probably isn't. Um, yeah. So, so here we have scene opening on the planet. We have, I guess it's supposed to be the ship from the previous movie on its way down to Earth, but it's clearly a garbage can lid, which is appropriate for the banged up Transformers. They should be in the garbage. Yeah. So looks like the jamming thing. Okay, they're back outside, like in Trans One, in the backyard. This one, I believe, was filmed about a year after the other one, almost a year after the other one. So yeah, it had some issues, clearly. But now I have a Optimus Prime. Um, but we have two cast members in it. We have Cal Cadmus, Venom Brown, and Tim Cantrell, Optimus Prime, in it. He was playing Ultra Magnus and some of the others. And so we have two people. So it looks like his footage was actually nixed from this version of it, probably because it was unwatchable. Maybe it's in the previous, in the aftermarket thing. Some of his Transformers are in the story. So at this point, we had done some drama classes at school, and we had done some slight experience in story writing at this point in high school, and so this isn't as broken up because they actually tried to make a scene with a dialogue between the Decepticons chasing the Autobots in their alleged other ship. Yeah, and it does look otherworldly, but it's still really obviously not another ship. Obviously not. So, yeah. Yeah, we did this technique later on in the Trans Tech and the other series. We just redressed the set behind them. So this is the beginning of that. Can see the evolution of what we learned. Going from I think the first one I was like a sophomore in high school. Now I'm sort of a junior in high school. So maybe not even a junior in high school yet, because if this is, well, I might be an early junior in high school. Yeah, junior. Might be still sophomore year though, because it was like 9 months, 10 months later. It's funny that the Decepticons try to make them sound it's very Megatron sounding. So you did the Welker voice first for the other ones. That was Tim. Oh no! So he's a Thundercracker there too. Oh, he's over here. Oh. No, I think that is me actually doing it. And then there was that thing, piece of wood. It's a ship. That was not supposed to happen. Then they just wrote it into the story. Okay, yeah, he fell because the ship crashed, allegedly. It didn't really. Um, This is a considering what this is, it's better edited than the other ones. At least you can see the Metroplex. So yeah, some of Tim's toys are in this, and as you'll find out later on in the making of at the end, the bloopers thing at the end. Yeah, go into that right here, I guess. Well, the Metroplex scene. Yeah, he's not right scale at all. So, Tim's mother was a banker, and she puts a bunch of his toys in the back of her car, the bank parking lot, and locked up the van, little minivan, and somebody broke into the minivan, and because they thought the bag was probably like money or something, which is pretty lame, but they ended up with a bag full of toys. And, the only ones of Tim's toys that survived being ripped off and stolen, and we replaced some of them. There's an Optimus Prime. I think that's his though. It's Tim's. Were the ones that were his that he lent to me that night after this scene takes place, that I kept, and those were the ones that were not stolen. Were the ones that were in my room, including his Optimus Prime. So yeah, so Optimus Prime is suddenly there. Oh, he's got a Starscream too. Yeah, so he had more of them than I did at that point. Ew, and I couldn't actually break any of his toys, so he was Big Tim from school, so he would. Yeah, they didn't really have any kind of a football sports team or anything. It was Pine Hill. It was a small school, maybe 100 students. My graduating class was 10 students. That's pretty small. That's on the whole school. The senior side, the junior high side was probably 50 of them. Little kids were on the other side, and there were gates and fences and things. But yeah, the sort of two quads, school. So Tim was basically the big giant hulking like bear-like Baptist guy. Quiet, soft-spoken, never got mad. Hardly ever, I don't think. But yeah, he would if the bullies tried to pick on us, he would just show up behind us and stand there and go like, "Yeah, you can touch him, I'll touch you." Yes. At one point, he told a bully that he was going to make a human pretzel out of him. I wonder if he was going to. I don't know, but yeah. But yes, no, he wouldn't do that. Ooh. Yeah. So if there was a linebacker, if they had a football team, he would have been the linebacker. He would have been that guy. Wouldn't have been the quarterback though. He wasn't fast. He was just big, linebacker. Now Skyfire is dying again, which is okay, a little redundant, but I guess at this point we'd probably seen Transformers movie a dozen times on video at this point. Like, yeah, it's so cool. We're gonna have Prime again, and there's the Invid in the background from Carta. Yeah, Matchbox had the Invids, and then later on Exo Squad did. But that is his Optimus Prime. So, yeah. There's a Scorponok over there too. It's a year later. Ew. I threw away all the old booklets recently. Because they were, yeah. I have all the toys though. Optimus Prime. Onslaught. Onslaught leaving the bar. That's very similar to a later scene. Yeah, I remember these are attempts to remake other things. Reunion in the Cities and the following Till All Are One were remade into the Final Adventure. So a lot of the stuff that's happening here happens later on in some form or another in Final Adventure. In 1990-91, when the toy craze was dying here, but it was continuing in Japan, and we didn't know. And in Japan, they made the Headmasters and Victory and Zone. I think Zone was only one of them. But we didn't know about that. No internet yet. This is 1987, late 87. Could have even been, yeah. destroy build. Did I mean to say destroy building? It got cut off. Yeah, as you can tell, I kind of did tried to make close-ups, which kind of works. But if I just kept the camera steady, better. It is funny though that Menasor was obliterated by Defensor. It's actually fun. All right, we are back. We're going to be continuing on with Transformers 1239 and play. Okay, we're continuing with the adventures of the robots in disguise. A reunion in the cities. So, yeah. So. What's going on? Other than the brother thing and the sideswipe thing, and looks like it stopped with that. The brother thing. You're a pact leader. Yes, the pact was kind of its own thing, something we thought of because basically we didn't have enough toys. Yes, but the idea of this, this whole behind the scenes sort of, Transformers Dirty Dozen thing. I think I mentioned that before. But yeah, the idea of that being a thing is kind of fun. You have so there's scene in which Galvatron, and that could be Jim Tagon doing that. Kind of does sound like it. Galvatron was an odd toy, sort of a laser cannon. What happened with the original Megatron is he was a Walter P-38. He was basically a Nazi gun. He transformed into sort of a Nazi bad guy. And so he was a gun, and the little kids were apparently using him as a toy gun and getting in trouble. Police, apparently. As a toy gun, but they didn't know it was a toy gun. At least one or two people got shot. So they decided, let's not have that toy as a gun anymore. It's probably not a good idea. Or if you're going to have him as a gun, put a little stopper on the end, an orange stopper, so they know it's not a real gun, it's a Transformer gun. But yeah, the toy was discontinued in the U.S. as of the 80s show. And they reformatted him as Galvatron, who was sort of a laser gun from sort of a weird Buck Rogers-y sort of goofy thing. And he blows up Starscream in the movie. But apparently in this universe, Starscream is still alive. So they have this, they're reenacting the twin brother shooting the twin brother thing and making it Sunstreaker in a reenactment of the brothers fighting thing from the Pact. Flashback here. That was an episode David wrote, nephew David wrote, to explain why Mirage didn't have a twin brother. What's funny is, though, we didn't know it at the time, but, I mentioned the Heidi's Toyland earlier, is that Diaclone Starscream and the others were just assumed Japanese Transformers, but they were actually first. And there actually is a red Mirage back then. We didn't know that at the time. And this other red Mirage means that he has a twin brother. David didn't know. He was guessing. So yes, he does. In fact, Sideswipe and Sunstreaker also have alternative versions of themselves, including alternative cop car versions of Sunstreaker, similar to Red Alert. It's kind of cool. And they re-released these in the Transformers Earthrise and Transformers Kingdom line, so you could actually get them on Amazon as exclusives. I don't think we ended up with those two, but we probably should. Yeah, so we've got some of the other ones, though. We've got Tiger Track and the other one. Yeah, Anomalous Criminal and some of the other ones. Said they were Night Racer. Yeah. Gigi's Sideswipe. You got the power. Yep, you got the power. At least I'm just singing it. So it's like, well, it's not. Yeah, I'm not actually just singing it. Yeah, it's odd that they're some flashbacks in there. The fans and many fans in the Transformers thing do that in the series, and some of the other ones do it. I found that with the later stuff that I didn't do that so much anymore because it's confusing to do a series of flashbacks in a movie. If you are writing a fanfic, it's easier to just do a linear story and not keep skipping around, because usually your linear story is made up on the fly and it doesn't make sense. Anyway, mine certainly didn't. So, so yeah. So you don't need a flashback sequence. Not like Marvel's Eternals, which really didn't need any flashback sequences. Just establish, okay, here's what they did. They did it right in the Black Adam movie. They had him establish that he was 5,000 years ago, and then they skip to the present, because we don't care about how they got to the present. Just that, they're going to thaw him out and bring the present. Yeah, so it's the whole Captain America and the ice thing, or Buck Rogers and the ice thing before that. So yeah, so you have a reunion in the cities, and very little city action. I think I just liked the idea of a reunion. I was making reunions about everything. I even called the final On Location at Pine Hill Magazine Journal book. I did the journal at school. Called that The Reunion, even though I'd only been I graduated early in January and reappeared in June. It's not technically a reunion. It's more like a season finale. But I called it The Reunion anyway. It was not really a reunion per se until the sort of I guess the 2004 one. Yeah. And which was more than just me and Mark's Cards, but rather me and Mark's Cards and Tim. That was a 2004 one. So, but yeah, he was involved in the other stuff too. There's Capricarda briefly. Yeah, the camera was just. There were so many technical difficulties on this, technical problems. Just that camera, it's like, this is actually unwatchable because of that. The camera and microphone was just shitting itself, going. Yeah, so it's amazing. What was I doing? Destroy. Yeah, so he's gonna fly off and destroy Optimus Prime. That got cut off. Yeah, so there's parts of this that are. I thought we already did this part, but maybe we didn't. I think it stopped recording is what happened. So we're at 20 minutes, and it's just odd thing. Yeah, so I'm looking at the other, and you're at 20 minutes, and we have nothing changed, but it's yeah. I'm trying to figure out. So is it Wreck-Gar fighting Devastator, and then I'm not even sure why they're why they're doing what they're doing. That would be kind of funny, but because Devastator was too small, they didn't make an accurate size-wise Devastator until Combiner Wars in 2018, 2019, 2018. Combiner Wars Devastator, who was actually, they made the Constructicons to the scale of the Jumpstarter Constructicons from the 90s, therefore the right scale. And they made them bigger, so they were actually like. So Devastator was actually like 2 feet tall, which he should be compared to the other ones, 2 feet tall, making him hundreds of feet tall. As opposed to the toy there that is really no bigger than Abominus and the other ones. And really, yeah, it's kind of short. Yeah, it's Optimus Prime. Yeah, and there's my knee briefly. Yeah, there's one of the weird things about Defensor is he had like this helicopter guy that was like, but the weirder one is Bruticus, who's got the space shuttle that would be bigger than him. stuck to his arm. It's like a mini space shuttle. Why did they make it a space shuttle? And the 2001 Robots in Disguise, because of the 9/11 thing happened, they didn't want to show a shuttle crashing, even though there's no shuttle crashing. They didn't want to show a shuttle plane crashing into anything. So the American version of that from the Japanese, they redubbed out the shuttle crashing episode, didn't show that scene on which blast off crashes. Even though it did not look anything like a terrorist attack, it was more like the shuttlecraft crashes on the planet and it doesn't really look like anything because robot. Yeah. But it freaked them out. So here we have, they also didn't want to call Cobra a terrorist organization, even though the Cobra and G.I. Joe are clearly terrorist organization. An inept one, but every week we get beaten by G.I. Joe. So yes, there's some seriously, the triple changes were weird too. Broadside was supposed to be a jet plane, an aircraft carrier, which is really bizarre. So he's bigger than the jet planes that he'd be on, and he was a guy, and yet he was kind of small. And Astro Train is a giant space shuttle. It's the right scale as a giant space shuttle or a train, but then suddenly is regular sized again. So the Astro Train should be as big as Omega Supreme, technically. So should Broadside. They both should be. So. And the STF Autobot would be even bigger. He would be huge because he has the carriers as his arms. He would be gigantic, towering over all of them. As I probably pointed out before, and that is Tim's Optimus Prime. Yeah, so when the car thieves broke in and stole carjacked his Transformer collection out of the bank parking lot, they didn't. Or it must have been, I don't know if it's a bank parking lot or it was just near a parking lot. I think it was the bank parking lot. They thought it was money. That's probably what it was. Yeah, so, they had other places too. At one point, Fry's Foods merged with Macduff Electronics and became Fry's Electronics, among other things. They merged with other things too. And years later, they had Transformers there too. You could go to Transformers and Fry's. And then Service Merchandise went under and it's gone. I think it had a catalog for a while. Pretty much the internet stuff kind of killed that. It's like as soon as you could do like eBay and stuff, as soon as you could do that, Costco of course from Price Club. Yeah, as soon as you could do that, you could buy whatever you want. I didn't buy very many toys at Costco though. They usually didn't have those. I got some of the generation G.I. Joes at Costco later on, like the 25th anniversary ones. Also, they had an Optimus Prime from the movies that they had there. I had to buy him, just there. But Michael Bay movies. But other than that, there were a couple of Toys R Us's in town we would go to. We'd go to either the Sunnyvale one or the San Jose one, middle San Jose up there in McKee. Used to be there. And that's where the Unicrons were. Yeah, we buy toys there. The Sunnyvale one was in the news, though. It was in history. A distant cousin, the late Sylvia Brown, did a special on her silly psychic podcast thing. Well, not a podcast. It was a show back then about the haunted Toys R Us in Sunnyvale. And, years later, it was featured in a Job Club episode or two. Of which that series was then canceled and never released of journals after it was a controversy involving putting the journal up on YouTube. Don't do that. Don't put your diary up on Google. Somebody's going to read it. Yeah, don't do that. Just so you know. Not a good idea. So, basically, the haunted Toys R Us, isn't haunted. But anyway, so, but our fan films stuffs and descriptions and synopses were up there as well, and they were taken down, so they knew about these Transformer things, at least in synopses form, and a lot of them ended up there. But our mush stuff, Adama was one of the mush people. Optimus Prime. names that later became kind of synonymous with that. Legendary ones. There was Night Racer, Rakshi, Jazzy, those kind of names. Uh, Rob Powers. What's of these names? Uh, a bunch of others. I didn't know them personally, of course. That'd be possible. But some of them were local, like when we did the Mush years later, during the pandemic COVID lockdown thingy. When we did much of that, we had the ritual of doing all Transformers Mush stories from 20 years earlier as episodes. Got to do some of his and some others, some from Eiley Bunleen and Bobby Carruthers and stuff like that. We didn't directly have permission, but later got it. And some of these people commented on our stuff that they made a Transformer thing after. Yeah. And they liked it, so yeah. So we went on to do stuff that was way cooler than this, but it's fun to look back on stuff that I was doing at 16 or 17. And this story really would have been better, but it was an attempt to bring all of the minions from our clique and our Transformers clique and fan club and thing and put them in this story. They were also the Silly Track people, same people. And we put them in there, and yeah, it didn't work out because it made a mess. But years later, we went on to do Starcrockers together, and all four of us were in that, so I got to do that. And it took 12 years to make that because we initially filmed an hour of it, and then parts of it got lost. And then we went back years later in 2005, finished up the main story. And then in 2011, did some voiceover work. Finally released it on YouTube, the version of YouTube. There have been a couple of versions of it on YouTube. I think the old channel that was deleted many years ago, around 2012. So there was a third channel that went away that had all these on them. So yeah. So this is kind of like we're just doing it over. But there weren't commentaries. Okay, that was it. That was it. And we're going to save for the bloopers here. And you'll recognize some of the characters in there. So that says 1988 Cataco Productions. Deleted scenes. I always like to see the deleted scenes. And it looks like there are going to be a lot of deleted scenes. All right, so here we have. Yeah, this movie is very, very strange. And it's mostly your deleted scenes are mostly the camera just. Yeah, in this case, it really. I mean, we were doing it a little better, but in this case, it was like, yeah, it's just the camera was just a mess. We didn't think to get another camera, just replace it until the other series, because this thing is a mess. We just didn't know. Yeah, we tried to do stop motion there. It didn't work. You know, Metroplex fights Tripticon, but not really, because we didn't actually want to break Tripticon. Yeah, there's the camera shot of it. Oh man, yeah, the bloopers are spectacularly bad. Oh no, it's the Dare and Fire team. And because the tracking's all screwed up, it is actually me and Tim using the animating the two of them fighting. We fire. He actually had a lower voice. It's just that the tracking was all screwed up. It's pretty funny. So there we are. It's not a cat. That's.
Just tell me what a little bit of damage to ate it.
It's not a cat.
I got come along.
Okay.
I think the average one ate it.
What happened?
I'm not positive. I think Abra is the one who ate it.
Okay, she'll come around too. I gave them a bunch of it. Anyway, I'll have to go back. Nah, it's just bloopers. I'm not going back. It's bloopers. So we have we could go back, I guess. I don't know. So at 31 and 38. Start again. All right. 31:38. Yeah, the audio was kind of messed up there. And 31:38. And yeah, Tim would go on to play Moore and Schmidt. Optimus Prime. I tried to do them transforming. Yeah, so there is just so much. He's climbing up a wall. I later ripped that off in Silly Track. It had me climbing up the floor. But yeah, there's just yeah, the fence. The old Prime came back as a toy. So yay. Deals continued, but they were still making them though. They were able to get one. Man, that stop motion does not work. That was one of those clunky video cameras with the rainbow noise everywhere. Yeah. That actually was Technobots attack. So yeah, most of his footage ended up in the deleted scenes here because something wrong with the camera. Really, really wrong with the camera. And then it was going to get fixed anyway, I guess. But it's funny that this is just spectacularly like such a mess. Oh my goodness. That is not how the transform the old deck. Oh my goodness. You're gonna lose pieces of it down the deck. Onslaught. Made some card at that. I'm gonna aim again. Oh no, it's me. Whoa. It's Tim. Cool. Something. Metroplex needs my Triptych. And I'm playing the music in the background. Story, because you know what I was doing. What was I doing? On a boombox, on an audio cassette. Oh, it looks like found footage from like a Ring movie or something in 1987. Early 88. So I'm guessing November 87. Oh no. The explanation for the whole thing. Camera guy messing with the thing. And there, then we go back. Yeah, then turn the light sensitivity up again. Though these are the bloopers, so they're not that important. But yeah. Me dodged, me care. So he showed that scene again to try to fix it, but it really didn't work. It was too screwed up. Later on, Mark Scars and I did throw Triptychon off of the stair balcony. They somehow kept working, even though it was obviously screwed. Then later on, we threw that camera off the thing in the beginning of the Cal Cat Show, 2009. Tim's all laughing. An actual genuine blooper, like, what's he doing? I think actually this scene has repeated itself a couple times. He was gender fluid blur? No. It's just that he. So several takes of that apparently. Such a horror. What I'm talking about. Probably should have. There actually kind of was a script for this one, but it wasn't really a script. It's just sort of random in uppercase text without any typing ability. So some other side swipe through the time and space. That was kind of cool. Yeah. Skyfire apparently sucks. He gets hit by a missile. Well, it's like a missile attack scene that didn't work. Follow the missile to its target. Yeah, we thought of that before The Matrix did. But I was ripping off Doctor Strangelove, fairly certain. Fairly certain. Blow up Sideswipe. Poor Sideswipe. His wheel already fell off. Yeah, he's supposed to be transforming. But he's not. Oh, yeah, here's the scene. Transitions from one place to the other. And they kind of didn't do that right. Like, what? Okay. Here's my leg. It was quite warm that November. Yeah, it was quite warm. Yeah. Oh, boy. Because mainly I'm looking over these bloopers going like, oh my gosh. Yeah, they made a card of hand for him. I wonder if I included the part where I said Triptychon and Triptychon was ripped off. Oh. Well, I did eventually get another Triptychon. I got Gym-Tychons, Triptychon and Fortress Maximus. And I also have his two original guys, all banged up. And also there was there was another comic shop, Legends, and Legends was in Valco. And Jim said, I gave up a bunch of my Transformers. Gym-Tychon did. And I went over there and got like 2 or 3 of them when he said that. I had to give them over to the thing. I immediately got on the bus, went over there and got them. I got his Weird Wolf and a couple of other guys. so I have his Weird Wolf. Tim gave up some of his guys to the Time Tunnel toy, which was on Campbell. But I didn't get those. I left them because they were in fairly good condition. So I figured, yeah, let somebody else have. And then there's right, I have a gun. Supposed to kick him off the thing. I think I could have done that better. Oh no! Naked Calcat. No, I'm not naked. I'm wearing pants. Why am I naked? It's funny. I don't think we can show this part. It does look like I'm naked. I'll probably have to cut that part out. Explaining that the triple changers, well, you saved some of them, though. Yep, I bet the car thieves were very disappointed at the prospect of not finding money or drugs or something in Campbell, but finding a butt bag of toys and going like, God damn it. They're just toys. And no, I was not naked. You kind of couldn't see me, though. So yeah, I'll put a blotter over them. Censored. Rip off a Decepticon. Well, they did get ripped off, but not for that reason. What? I'm just gonna shoot him. Okay, that Looked the commercial bumper. Okay. Now later on, the Pretenders came out. They sucked after the Headmasters. They had some really weird ideas about some of the later ones. There was like one where they were like Superlink was a Energon Superlink, and they were like you cut them in half and they become another guy's top half or bottom half. Weird idea. It didn't translate too well. Articulation wise, they weren't even that good by 2002. The articulation didn't become really good until really the movie. But yeah, the Michael Bay ones. But then they were really hard to transform. They were like museum pieces. Like that Jetfire meets Prime thing. It's like, oh, jeez. Even the famous Emgo the freaking geek had trouble transforming that guy. So here we have a commercial bumper. What the hell? Okay, it's transformed. Yeah, that is not how to do stop motion. That's why it's in the bloopers reel. There are an awful lot of bloopers here. There's Grimlock. They had Generation 2 at one point. That kind of sounded like him. Maybe kick butt. So most of his lines got nixed. Get flagged for that one scene. The blooper. Yeah. Probably not. Anyway, thanks. I can barely tell what's going on. So here we have more bloopers. You can see why that didn't work either, because Skylinks is a weird transformer Griffin bot thing. The brown crest. And now there's another mention of a city, but we don't see it. Launch Skylinks. Wow, the camera was bucking itself crazily. Like, wow, man. Oh my goodness. This is just. Oh, blur, not me. I don't want to die. But yeah, I just don't know what to say. It's just, wow. Probably a reason we didn't want to do Marine in the City's audio track originally. What are we doing in audio track? Oh, but exploring like the making of videos. Once you have over 1,000 views on your videos on your channel, why not just do an expose on our early stuff and put that up? Why not? Because it's really not important what's going on. Really, I think I broke that guy right there. I hope it was my Devastator that just broke. But maybe not. With Tim's Skylinks. Yeah. Because some of them, weren't ripped off because they were in my house. So I had them. And actually, if he decided, okay, I'm just going to leave my toys at your house tonight, because you left in the car, they would have all been there. They wouldn't have been gone. Yeah. They'd have been fine. They might have been broken a little bit. Ugh, like that guy. Fake Cybertron. Last time I read Decepticon. I wonder if that's a spoof of something from the 80s. Probably. I think there was a commercial back then that was about an airline that was really terrible spoofing it. Probably an SNL sketch. Oh, Metroplex is now in city mode and really looked very tiny. Metroplex didn't get his comeuppance until Combiner Wars, which was they built an actual to scale Metroplex. Well, as much as they could. About 2.5 feet tall. 2 feet tall, roughly. And then they built a Force Max. Re-engineered him so his legs to swip around to go with him. They built a Scorponok to roughly the same scale. A little bit shorter. and a Triptychon that was even shorter. Yeah, so that's cool. It's interesting looking back on these toys, seeing them like before we beat the shit out of them. It's just interesting. What we were. I get what I was trying to do. I just didn't do it right. Orchestrate it right. It's just a mess. I'm okay with that. Transformers. Move on. Oh, Prime. One shall stand, one shall fall. Well, the audio. Camera was just a mess. You really loved that sort of a low pass of Top Gun style low pass of an Autobot car like it's an airplane. That's kind of funny. A little side swipe. Should be funny because if it was Tom Cruise from the original Top Gun in '86, he would be driving his plane into the ground, which would be funny. Yay! I'm gonna buzz the tower. Blow up. I think this was only done over a few days too. This looks like a slightly better footage, but even though the guy tried to fix it, he didn't really, because it's still screwed up and the microphone's still going. So yeah, the video is fixed right here, but it's still a mess. It's still better, but it's still shit. Oh, the line is supposed to be that I'm trying to rip the Matrix from you, but he didn't say it right. So Prime basically finished the line for him and said, "Rip the Matrix from me." Like, why didn't I just reshoot that? Half of this is like, why didn't I just reshoot that? Doesn't make any sense. What? Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what I was doing. She'll die, Autobot. Die, Autobot. 4904. No. So here we have 4904. We have this weird sort of, yeah, things are just, jeez. Anyway, so, yeah, we have Transformers behaving badly. Yeah, the aerial bots were just the wrong scale. Those jump starters they had, those were the first shelf warmers. Shelf warmers being Transformers that didn't sell. Is a weird thing. They didn't know what to do with them. They weren't in the show. The jump starters, Twin Twist and Top Spin, only to become hard to get, impossible to get during the Combiner Wars era. Then they became harder to get. But yeah. Oh, the line is that I kind of fly off. Yeah, so a lot of this is just it's like a non-stop battle. That's the idea, but execution-wise, no, not so good. Oh yeah, because Blitzwing was sort of a traitor because the Decepticons were stopping the Quintessons, and Octane was a traitor because he wanted to steal Trypticon, so they were traitors. We figured Decepticons are going to deceive each other. we didn't address the whole Blitzwing Trader thing really until he returns in Transformers Lexicons. He's in that one. Comes back on that one. Although Octane came back earlier in All Transformers Mush and had a lover. But yes, looks like that Rodimus's trailer is already broken. Hope it's mine. But yeah, yeah, they didn't last too long, especially if I continually knocked them off the bed and them crushing down to the floor. Is that supposed to be the light sensitivity that are going up, or a hand of God, or what? It does not look like anything. It looks like my hand shot. What? Is this supposed to be fire? What? I guess that's why it's in the bloopers reel. It's like, what is that? That does not look like anything. Yeah, don't do that in your fan film. Don't do that in your fan film. Ew. And then don't play the music from the Transformers the movie in the background, because it's like, really? Because then it's like, that's just Transformers the movie again. Yeah. Well, we're not going to fix anything here. We're just going to fix it later. Yeah, that's like, it's a thinly veiled reference to later Reagan era politics in there, thrown in there, probably. Yeah, Nancy was being the president for the last 2 years of Reagan's term. He wasn't. He was too senile. Currently, the president is too senile as well. Joe Biden. So we were looking at 25 years ago. 35 years ago. And seeing that 35 years ago, what was going on. Yeah, so take on the Decepticons. Of course, this is obviously a blooper. Anytime they want. Till all I want. Let's rip off the end of Transformers the movie. That's okay. That's what they did before. God, that thing is annoying. Haha. And that's why in all the Transformers Flash we don't show Transformer 1. And credits. Transformers. What was I doing? The credits looks like this on a sheet. What the heck? It's just like destruction by. At least I gave credit to the Bush and Lion there, and often fans will do that in their fanfic on the online thing, especially lexicons. The newer the later one. So there was All Transformers Mush was a website, and then later on they established the archive for that, which was Lexicons, which was 2015. But it was a lot of the 2010s, 2000 stuff. Here we have a scene that's just going like whoa, what is okay, this the bloopers are longer than the movie. They're just going on with the bloopers and bloopers and bloopers. So there was footage of the cities like duking it out, but it didn't make it into the movie because, as you can see, it's completely destroyed. Cheap ass video camera. That's a Triptychon fighting Metroplex. But yeah, this was completely reenacted in the Transtech series, in which we had them do the battle correctly, and yeah, with mini bots and minicons and stuff, and Metroplex and Triptychon, Stepicon, and including Triptychon eating one of them and passing him out through his rectum at the end. So yeah, honestly. So yeah, this is straw. It's just a kind of a mess. Um, kind of a mess. Why am I? It's, well, these are bloopers. So I keep saying, why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? But these are the bloopers reel. This is what did not make it into the finished roughly 40-minute movie. This is the other 40 minutes of it that was absolute crap. He would include it. The other 40 minutes that was crap we didn't want to include, and didn't, because for obvious reasons. It's just, yeah, the camera was just shit. Apparently I didn't tell him that there was a sound thing going on. The camera was doing that as well. I don't know what would be causing that either. That weird sound distortion or thing. It's acting like there's wind going into the mic. It's just a regular cathode mic. It's just a regular old mic like this one, but an early version of it. And yeah, there's no wind blowing. It's just that the mic kept picking up it like there was wind going in the background from somewhere, some kind of interference from, I guess, the camera's motors were going. What's funny is the end credits already played, and there's still more bloopers. Damn. Oh my goodness. Some of the bloopers are repeating themselves. So. Thank you, yes. Well, I won. Till all I won. Some of the bloopers were repeating themselves. So some of them are.
Oh, so she wanted that thing to ring to.
So yeah, the more bloopers.
Oh, you told me. Oh, there's some more of them. Oh, well.
Bloopers. Yeah, more bloopers. They're funny though. You watch them. Watching bloopers till all one. It's when they show that Blitzwing scene. Father. I can see why you didn't originally want to do an audio commentary on this, just because it's like. But we're doing it now, so it's weird. Is that finally it? This keeps going on and on. What the actual fart? Well, this is. That's kind of funny because originally Onslaught was created by Starscream. Onslaught's now beating Starscream. Or is he making out with him? Knocked him over, but they're not doing anything now. It's actually Astro Train. It was a really, really shitty little toy. It wasn't very big at all. It was like weirdly scaled. To explain away reasons that they would increase or decrease in size. That did not make any sense. Mass shifting. Yeah, that's it. Soundwave becoming a little tape deck. And Blaster being the tallest Autobot of the G1 Autobots. Even though he shouldn't have been, but the engineering, they didn't have that yet. So they will make him smaller. That was actually funny. I say, blah. I was probably ripping off that show. And now the credits again. But somehow even more screwed up this time around. Yeah, So there's a Transformers theme again. I don't think that'll flag anything. Yeah, they gave copyright to Hasbro, even though it's like, I don't think Hasbro cares. I really don't. Somebody's fan film from 19. If be surprised though, my high school graduation footage, apparently UMG did care about that one. They were like, oh, you can't use it John Lennon's Imagine. I didn't. That people at the convention, at the thing did. Yeah, I didn't do it. Continued. What the? Oh yeah, that was weird. Silly Trek ship. Or one. In which we brought them back. The trans movie, Tilala one. That's kind of cool, actually. Yeah. You can tell they're all Transformers. You can tell it's a, you know, yeah, I like it. Six Shot, Galvatron, and Skykomonas, a Veritech, STF3, Optimus Prime in the background. PG. It's pretty funny. So yeah, produced by